Alright, update number 11 on the 37 Rat Rod Chop Top dually build. Um, since last week, haven't had any time on the car. I did pick up some extra parts this week that we needed and somewhat cleaned the shop. So a little bit been done. Today we're going to start cutting the frame down to final measurements, start laying out the Z, and see how far we get. Alright, I'm going to show you what I got this week for parts. Alright, so I went to the junkyard and I actually found an 80s Ford dually. I was able to pull 4 tires. They hold air. There's okay tread on them. They're enough to get started with. Not as tall as I was thinking about going, but I think they're going to be more practical. They're 235s, so they'll be decent on it. Picked those up, lug nuts, and I picked up this 4-link. I bought it used, but it's never been mounted. I took a load of scrap, a bunch of those leaf springs, stuff like that in. By the time all said and done, I got all this here for $100. So not doing bad then, easy on the pocket. But I've got the 4-link and the tires so we can start mocking up the rear axle. So that's what we're going to work on today. Alright, so I've turned the frame up on the side. I know people are wondering why I left that piece up there, but it's great for this. I can stand it on its side and it holds itself. I'll cut that off once I'm done, but for right now that helps out. So I've measured the body from the rear wheel well forward, and I've got about 80 inches. Now the old frame from the front body mount to the front of the car was 44, so I decided to cut this at 124. Now I've measured back and I've laid out the center line. Okay. Now if I cut a 45, that means this is going to bend around to a 90. So my frame will come in and go straight up. Don't want that. I want more of a 45. So I've measured in to 22 and a half and 22 and a half. So I've got this V, so when it comes up, it'll only come to a 45. So my frame will come down and 45 up and then 45 again over the axle. That's the plan. So I'm going to cut this now. I think the best way for me to cut is probably with my 7-inch die grinder, just so I get a nice sharp straight cut and I can bevel the edges and weld it out. But we'll see how it goes. If not, screw it, I'll grab the plasma and cut it. But I think this would probably be the best way to do it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, well, it's Christmas Day. My sons are out here helping me today, working on their cars and helping me with this. I did that little bit of welding the other night on the frame. Started to kick up to go over the axle. I'm cutting it pretty close on it, but it's going to add more and go higher. But the fact is, we've measured these tires and they're actually 245 75/16, and when we measured the body, it's gonna put the top of the tire like 2.5 inches from the third window. So if we ever went any higher, it would be up past the windows, and it's not what I want, because with the second suicide doors, we go too big, the doors won't open. I want all of it to work. So we're just gonna build this frame so that with this size tire, when she sits down, frame smacks the axle and it's down. And I mean, we might put a little notch in it for clearance, but it's gonna be right there. It's gonna flatten all the way out. So that's what we're working on today, is we're cleaning up that last piece of frame. We're gonna do that and start building the last part of it. And if we get through that today, we'll start building 4-link, but slow process, so we'll figure it out. Alright, so finally got the frame cleaned up to the point that I can start doing the Z. Setting it up now, trying to level it, trying to figure out the angles from the other kick-ups I did. So there's a lot of measuring going on right now in order to get this thing right. The frame goes different sizes, whatever, so only working off the bottom line. Bottom part of it, as long as that's where I need it, who gives a shit where the top is. So as long as I keep that bottom perfect and clean, all the measurements come out. So that's what I'm working on now. I'll show you real quick. So I've already welded those kick-ups. They're not final welded, they're just stitched in to hold. Once I'm completely done with the frame, then I'll actually go back in, root grind them, root passes, normal passes for strength, and do it all. So what we're doing is we've just got the back part of this frame set up now on jack stands, leveled out, and we're going to cut it in a slope to match that. So therefore the bottom edge will match the top overhang. I'm going to box this all in and plate it, so I'm not that worried about it. Just got to get it all straight, lined up, measurements good. So that's what I'm working on now. We're going to get this thing, hopefully today we'll get this thing actually welded up, be able to roll the axle forward where it goes, and really see how this thing's going to set. Alright, so we've checked our cut on our frame, and we're about 35 degrees. Okay, so I decided to point back here that I'm going to start the cut at, coming up and forward 35 degrees. The reason I'm not going from here back is because we are working with the bottom line of the frame and the thicknesses do change. So we stay at the bottom of the frame, we take a reference point that we know it's good, use this hole here, level line straight down from here, 35 degrees up. Once we cut that, both sides, we'll be able to slide the frame up, and it should be pretty close enough for us to grind and get it ready. So that's the plan. So look, people have told me you can't build a good frame unless you have a table to build a frame on. I don't see why this doesn't work. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm doing right now and how it came out, and I don't see the need for it. I mean, we're not building a supercar here. All right, look, so I've tacked it all up. She's enough to hold now, okay? We've got 0 on that one. The other one's 0. We are centered on that level. Perfect on that level. So if everything is square and everything's level, and I've even pulled measurements and angles, we're square, we're perfect. We're within a 16th. So don't really see the need for anything special. If you got some levels and some angle finders, you can square everything up, make sure your floor is square, tack it up and do it. So all right, now I'm gonna take and lop these off, make that look good, box that in, you know, do a couple things there. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna get this stuff finished up enough just to hold. I'm not gonna finish weld anything until I'm 100% that the rear end's moving the way I want, everything's the way I want. When I've got that, I'll start doing all the heavy welds on it to make sure this sucker's gonna stay together. All right. So I've got the frame at ride height, which is pretty freaking low. I got it about 3.5 to 4 inches. About 4 in the rear, 3.5 in the front. I know that's pretty low, but I want the look on this car. I've driven lowered cars for most of my life. I know how to drive them. I think I'll be fine. Never done this low this long though. So I can always over air it, get it up a little more if I gotta get into somewhere. Other than that, going on the road, this can be fine. So I put together my 4-link pieces here. When I mock them up, just eyeballing them. We're sitting about right there. Alright, so right along here, I need to plate this out. I need to box it in order that way my brackets can be welded onto it. I've got some flat steel I picked up at the scrapyard today. I could use it, but I mean, I'm going to be putting somewhere close to 500 horsepower in this guy. So that rear end's got to hold, and I don't trust it. The sheet metal and the flat stock stuff I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a brace in the back, a cross member. Go ahead and cut the back of the frame off. I've got an extra 3 feet of frame back there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Take that, cut the sides off, use that to box in. I mean, this stuff is thick. So I'm going to cut it, put that in there. And it'll be thicker than the brackets that hold the 4-link. So, peace of mind to me. The stuff I'm welding, the things I'm building are beefier than the stuff you can buy. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so yep, I'm going to get the cutting. I'm gonna call it a night. It's gotten pretty cold out here. I've gotten everything in. Got the Z on the frame done, cross member in the back. When laying out the 4-link, the whole plan of using the frame, it's too small. It's 6.5 inch. It's 6 inches and needs to be 6.5. So I'm gonna have to hit the scrapyard this week before this weekend and pick up some bigger pieces so I can actually make the plates for the 4-link to weld to. Other than that, doing pretty good. Looks like the 4-links will come together fine. Going to have to either add a hoop for the upper 2 links, or I'm going to have to do something different. I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm going to be figuring that out this week, so this weekend we can put it together. But yeah, I'll throw some photos up where we're at. Excuse the mess, I just shoved everything in here. If you guys like the videos, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Just glad to know that somebody's getting something out of it. All right, thanks a lot.